Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. We are live from Kathy's house with a big announcement in store. Go ahead and join. I'm gonna wait just a few minutes for everyone to log on here. We are about to start here in just a few seconds, so go ahead and log on. We have a huge announcement coming soon. All right, we are about to start here.
I just wanted to first give credit to each and every one of you who are here with us today. This day would not have been possible without you. It simply would not have happened. Today marks the official launch of our capital campaign to build the new Kathy's house, what we call our new home for healing. This day is a major milestone in the history of Kathy's house, which opened back in 2001 in honor of Kathy Vogel-Kittner, who passed away in 2000. We are honored to have two of Kathy's family members here with us this afternoon, Kathy's mother, Judy, and her sister, Laura. I believe they were greeting people as you came in. There is Judy right there. Judy, raise your hand, please. Thank you, Judy. And Laura is probably chatting somewhere, but hopefully she'll make her way outside here pretty soon. There's Laura. Hi, Laura. Raise your hand. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I would also like to recognize any past or current board members. We currently have 20 community leaders serving on our board of directors and 6 emeritus board members. So if you're a current or past board member, could you please raise your hand or stand up? Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge our elected officials here with us today. I'm not sure if Mayor Kathy Ely is still here with us today from the city of Tosa, but she was earlier. She may have had to scoot out. She's eating lunch, okay. Thank you, Mayor Ely. Also, we had someone here earlier from Senator Tammy Baldwin's office as well, but I believe Vanessa had to scoot out as well. So thank them both for being with us this afternoon. We also have many partners here today that are part of the project for the new Home for Healing. Number one, we have Dan Davis here from C.G. Schmidt. I'm not sure if Dan is on the back patio or not. He's been working with us for several years. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Oh, there's Mayor Ely. Thank you. She's doing that. One of our other partners is HGA, who is the architect on the house, and another major partner is Waterstone Bank, as well as Grave. And you will meet some other partners as part of the program today. I hope you all had the opportunity to look at the renderings inside the house and take the virtual tour we had set up on our big TV. Our total campaign goal is $12 million. And our campaign began in 2017 when Frederick Hospital announced that they would be the lead investor in the new Kathy's house with a gift of $5.9 million. That's worthy of applause. Since that announcement, we have been quietly working to raise the additional money, and we are currently at a total of $9.6 million, having raised an additional $3.7 million after Frederick Hospital announced their $5.9 million gift. This means we are at 80% of our goal, and we could not be more excited to be here. Today is about celebrating that achievement and thanking everyone who has contributed to make this day possible. If you had not had a chance, please take a look at our poster boards. There's one right over there, which includes the names of all our major supporters. I think we have representation from almost every major contributor here with us today, and I could not thank you enough for being in our current house with us today, helping us get to our new house. Today is also about going public with our campaign. This morning we issued a statewide media release that went out to over 80 media outlets to let them know about the vital role that Kathy's house plays and the need to meet increasing demand for our services. As part of going public, we will also launch a multi-state Facebook campaign to raise our profile, as well as our direct mailing campaign to households and businesses located in the areas where most of our guests come from, namely northeastern Wisconsin, Appleton, Green Bay, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and northern Illinois. Many of you here today have made it a point to communicate our impact to your network of colleagues. And I'm here to tell you today it is working. It has worked incredibly well, and I ask that you keep it up. You've been so effective at helping to raise our visibility and raise our profile. As you all likely know, the current reality at Kathy's house is that each day we have to turn away patients and their family members who need our services in order to access the medical care that the patient needs. What you may not know is that for the last 2 years, we have turned away over 500 families, or approximately 1,000 people, because we simply did not have an available room for them. What we also know from the guests who have been able to stay with us is that without Kathy's house, many of them simply would have chosen or had to forego getting treatment for their cancer or other serious illness. One of the questions we ask on our survey after our guests check out is, if you would not have had a place such as Kathy's house to stay, would you have been able to access the medical care that you need? And it's been very consistent that over 40% of respondents said no. They simply would not have been able to access the care that they need. This speaks to a deep existing inequity in healthcare access. I have to be very careful or else my speech blows away. So pardon me. Without a place to stay, patients are simply unable to access the vital care that they need. In the past few decades, and even in the past few years, there have been incredible advancements in medical care and treatments. And we are lucky to have access to those treatments in our own backyard here in Milwaukee. Kathy Vogel-Kittner died of a type of cancer called Burkitt's lymphoma. I learned 3 years ago from one of our top referring physicians that through research and advancements in care, her type of cancer is now curable. But it's only curable as long as the patient with Burkitt's lymphoma can access that care. Right now in the house, all of our 18 rooms are occupied. 13 of the 18 families staying with us are facing cancer, 3 are having heart surgery, and 2 have a loved one in the ICU. The families we have to turn away every day face very similar medical crises. A patient not being able to access care simply because we do not have rooms is unfathomable. The good news is that we are well on our way to building a new facility that is twice the size of our current facility, so we can begin to right this wrong. Not only will it be twice the size of the current Kathy's house, but is being designed to be the national model in hospital guest housing. This means we will build a facility and deliver services designed to best support the health of the patient as well as the caregiver. We will have a separate wing for our bone marrow transplant patients and our cardiovascular patients who need extended time to access their medical care and whose immune systems will be compromised during their treatment. We will also have a separate space where patients can receive basic clinical care such as blood draws. We will also add new programs for our guests, and even though we haven't broken ground yet, we're already starting to incorporate some of these programs. A couple months ago, we started our pastoral care program to offer spiritual support to our guests so we can match culturally specific religious resources to patients and their caregivers who seek spiritual care when they are a long way from home. We also are starting a new pet therapy program called Kathy's Canine Crew. You may have seen a couple dogs here with us today, and I would like to introduce you to them. Lady and Theo, please step up here and be introduced. Welcome, Lady and Theo. So Lady is right here on the right. She's a Labradoodle, and she is completely certified. She's gone through her program. And Theo, down here, he is just about to start his therapy, or maybe he's already started.
We're getting ready to start.
Okay, all right. And Lady and Theo belong to 2 of our staff members here at Kathy's house, and I just want to personally thank Marie and Mary for stepping up and going above and beyond to bring their their lovely pets in to support our patients and their family members. So thank you both. I really appreciate it. And I know it's really hard to follow the dogs, but I would like to introduce the next speaker of our program, Wayne Larson from the Laddish Company Foundation.
Thanks, Maddie. You took away my first line about having to follow the dogs, but that's okay. She said, I'm Wayne Larson. I'm from the Laddish Co Foundation. We're a private foundation that's been in southeastern Wisconsin for about 60 years. Our real focus is on healthcare and education to improve the lives for people in southeastern Wisconsin. I was first introduced to Kathy's house a number of years ago when some very good friends brought me down here and asked me to help cook a meal. Since then, I've been sold. And when we found out the expansion plans were in works, it seemed like a natural fit for us. We helped build out the Ronald McDonald House for families of children. We helped build out the Fisher House for families of vets. And what better place for us to be than here to help with this effort. So we are committed. We will stay with these people. We will help them get this built and help them go forward. And I hope a lot of other people can get involved and can help fill out the remaining 20% that needs to be raised. So thank you and best wishes for everybody.
Thank you, Wayne. I'd now like to introduce Kathy Buck, President of Freighter Hospital.
Well, I would just like to start by thanking each and every one of you on behalf of Freighter to the Medical College of Wisconsin for your ongoing support for Kathy's House. You have no idea how much that means to us, to the patients we serve, and to the community that we serve at large. The partnership between Freighter to the Medical College of Wisconsin and Kathy's House goes all the way back to the beginning. Although I will tell you, our partnership in recent years has been much stronger. I think it kind of fun to reflect back all the way to the year 2001 and think about how much medical treatment has changed since that time and how that affects the changing face of Kathy's House. When I think back to the year 2001, a typical bone marrow transplant patient would have been hospitalized on average for several months in isolation, being allowed only a few visitors, getting very intense immunosuppressive treatment, and obviously having to struggle through that alone. Fast forward to today, Freighter at the Medical College of Wisconsin did over 300 bone marrow transplant patients last year, and most of them were done on an outpatient basis. We have come so far in the last 2 decades. In the last 2 decades that we have been working with Kathy's House, many of our bone marrow transplant patients have the opportunity to stay here rather than in the hospital. It's better for them emotionally, physically. It costs a fraction of what it costs to stay within the hospital. And so access to care is so much easier for this patient population. We have in the back row Dr. David Joyce. Dr. David Joyce joined Freighter at the Medical College of Wisconsin about 2.5 years ago. He is our chief heart transplant surgeon. He brought the opportunity for us to serve a patient population in this community that we were not serving before. And I know he is here in support of Kathy's House because they do such a wonderful job with his patients. Last month in July, Freighter Hospital opened 96 new beds. We opened 3 32-bed units in our relatively new building now, our Center for Advanced Care. One of those units was dedicated to cancer care, one dedicated to specialty surgical populations, and one to orthopedics and orthopedic trauma. Interestingly enough, 10 days after we opened those 96 beds, they were all full. In the month of July, we functioned at 95% occupancy, and we continue to have patients in non-traditional spaces waiting for beds. So for those of you who might have been sitting in this audience what was it, Patty, a year ago or 18 months ago, when we were struggling with, do we build 24 beds, do we build 36 beds? We originally were going to build Kathy's house in 2 phases, 24 beds, and then later moved to 36 beds. We absolutely made the right decision about moving to 36 beds. Froedtert Hospital is now the largest hospital in the state of Wisconsin, outranking UW-Madison about a year ago, and similarly with St. Luke's. I know Kathy's house serves patients from all of the healthcare systems, and we are in support of continuing to do that. But you certainly have a special partnership, and we have a special partnership with all of you, and we so look forward to continuing to working with you on this project. The last thing I want to comment on, which is probably the biggest question in your mind, is when the heck are we going to break ground? Why does it keep getting put off and put off? And you know, Patty, you said we started this in 2017, and I was sitting here thinking, I thought it was a little bit longer than that, but at least 2.5 years we've been waiting for the opportunity to break ground. And you may have a frame of reference and you may not, for the fact that what has held this up overall is the size of the transaction. Milwaukee County is selling the land that the Milwaukee Regional Medical Center sits on to the 3 biggest tenants, Froedtert Hospital, Medical College of Wisconsin, and Children's Hospital. And there were many, many unexpected surprises that came up during the last 2.5 years. However, at no point in time did either Milwaukee County or any of the 3 partners on Milwaukee Regional Medical Center ever want to move away from this transaction. There were unanticipated things that arose related to setbacks and distances between buildings, and now we have 3 owners instead of 1 owner, and the regulations that go around that, and unfortunately getting waivers and state support and local support for some of the ways the campus was designed and will continue to reside, for lack of a better way of describing it, kind of delayed our ability to break ground. But we are ever, ever so close. And if we do not close by the end of the year, I am still very hopeful that we will. It will be very shortly after that. And so we are so looking forward to putting that shovel in the ground. I thank you all again for your ongoing support and for all the leadership that you, Patty, and the board has been able to demonstrate. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for your leadership as well. Next up, I'd like to introduce Roger Kaplinger, the medical director for the Milwaukee Brewers. And just so you know, the Milwaukee Brewers Foundation, we recently learned about a month ago that they will be supporting our new house, so we thought that was wonderful news, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to invite a representative here from Milwaukee Brewers who also happens to be somewhat familiar with cancer, as he will tell you.
Thank you very much, and appreciate you offering for us a chance to speak with my wife, Jackie. It's an honor and a privilege to speak to everyone today. A cancer diagnosis is never easy, especially when you hear it from your physician, but all importantly is what you do with that diagnosis and the challenges that come with that diagnosis. On December 1st of 2017, our personal physician, Dr. Mark Neefeld, came to our home, and he had a single white piece of paper in his hand. And I'm like, what is he doing here, and what's going on? And so he had a diagnosis of stage 1 pancreatic cancer. Never had pancreatic cancer in our family before. So what do we do with this? I really didn't know. So I had to excuse myself from the table, take a walk around the block, which was freezing cold, but I had to gather my thoughts and come back and formulate a plan. And so as being a part of the Milwaukee Brewers for the last 30 years, my wife Jackie told me, what makes this any different? You've been a part of the team for the last 30 years. And yet again, she was right. Without family and friends and colleagues, we would never have made it through this 11-month journey. I will say that our owner, Mr. Antanasio, Commissioner Seelig, were very supportive in letting us go to any medical center in the entire country. So we did our due diligence. We talked to MD Anderson, Cleveland Clinic, Cedars-Sinai. But guess what? The best medical care is right down the road here. Milwaukee is unbelievable hotbed of pancreatic cancer. Dr. Doug Evans, Dr. Susan Tsai, and their team are exceptional. They are the best in the entire country. So for me, this disease, everything happens for a reason in life. It brought our close-knit family even closer together. It brought friends from long distances to our home. It actually brought our organization, the Milwaukee Brewers, closer together. We wouldn't have received the news that we wanted to hear at the end of this journey. I challenged Doug Evans. I said, at the end of this, you need to tell me 2 words. You're cured. That's all I want to hear. And so that happens only with family. This is why Kathy's House is so important, is where families come from outside of our community with open arms, so they have the opportunity to be together, to fight this disease, whatever disease they're fighting. Whenever someone has a cancer diagnosis, it's not all about them. When in reality, it's about the patient, and it's about how it affects their families. Quick story, when I was in chemotherapy treatment at medical college, there was a gentleman next to me almost every Monday. We would wish our platelets would be high. We would see each other next door. I had the fortunate opportunity of my wife, Jackie, to hold my hand, my sons be there for chemotherapy, and he didn't have anybody. Thank God I had my family. And that's what Kathy's House is all about. Cancer treatment is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, but at the same time, the most rewarding. It made me look inside myself to see what challenges I can actually foresee and actually conquer. Our family's been fortunate for the past 30 years to have our boys run around on Miller Park Field and play wiffle ball and do all that fun stuff, but the real joy is giving back to our community. It's all a part of how we all in this crowd make a difference. How can we make a difference? During our treatment, we had a slogan. Our slogan was battle ready. We were ready for the battle every single day. Not only did myself and my friends and my colleagues, we all wore bracelets with battle ready. Our son Kyle came into my room, which my wife prepared for me, and said, hey, I got an idea. What do you think about tattoos? I'm like, Kyle, I don't like them. He goes, well, I'm going to get one. And I'm like, well, what are you going to get? And he goes, well, on my left wrist, I'm going to get battle ready. And Mom and Brett and you are going to get it when you get out of treatment. Because I want that to remind me and the impact that we had on our son to be battle ready for whatever comes in your life. And that's what he learned. And so our new slogan is, you only get one chance at a second chance. I thought about this long and hard in preparing the speech, but our family is committed to making a difference in our community. We look out to this audience and I think everyone has the same goals. How do we make a difference? How do we pay it forward? How do we give people the same opportunity that we had living locally here in Wisconsin? So we are here to pay it forward. We're here to do this as a family, as they can do that staying here at Kathy's House. This is a home away from home that allows families to stay together, to fight together, and to win together, all in one roof. How blessed are we to be pioneers of this new facility right here in Milwaukee. Let's continue to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger. I really appreciate your willingness to share your story. And Roger's doctors, Dr. Evans and Dr. Tsai, are one of our top referring doctors here at Kathy's House. So I think his story really resonates with several of the guests that are currently with us here today, some of which are also being treated for pancreatic cancer. Up next, I'd like to introduce the current guest we have in the house, Denise Smith, who has graciously offered to share her story of how she and her husband Clifford came to stay at Kathy's House, and we're very grateful of her willingness to be a part of today's ceremony. Thank you, Denise.
Well, I thought I was going to be the only one with notes, but I was glad to see I'm not. My name's Denise Smith. I live in Crivets, Wisconsin right now. We've been here for 3 weeks. My husband's been a welder for 40 years, and he retired and went up there went to the doctors up there, had 2 rounds of chemo, and they said, no, we're sending you to Frater. It's the best place. And we know of this house there. This house, I'm going to break it down. This house that can help you out. And so they told us about Kathy's house. And because they told us we were going to be down here 3 or 4 months at least. And what were we going to do down here with no place to be? Now some people can go to a hotel, but we didn't have that option. We're on a one Social Security paycheck, and that does our basic bills, and that's how we live, you know. So we got connected here. We went down to Kathy's, talked to them, and they said, well, we'll put you at the bottom of the list, and it's quite a list. And I was like, okay, well, we can do this. I'll just call us whenever. I'll be up in the room with my husband, because my only option was to stay with him in the room. So we were looking at 4 months up in the hospital. They did some magic, and they called up and they finagled and they got us a room here. So we came down after 2 nights. The first 2 nights I did stay in the room. I thought, not bad. I could do this. I can do this with my husband. He's going through chemo. And then the next day I could come to Kathy's house. I got out of the hospital. I didn't realize what stress I was under when I went out of the hospital and just went, you know, and then came here to a place that really is a home. It really makes the staff here, you can't really call them staff, they end up being friends, you know. And, you know, I have 6 children there all pitching in there doing whatever they can supportively. But to have these people at the end of the day when I walk in exhausted because my husband's had a terrible day, and them just say, sit down, I'm going to make you a cup of coffee, I'm going to love you. They don't sometimes say it quite like that, but that's exactly what they mean. Let's see what else. Okay, so me and my husband, we're used to being givers. We don't have money to give, but we try to give time and work and, you know, help other people. And it's really different being on the other end of the stick where you have to receive. But we come here and people just do whatever they can for us. There's a community of people who are going through the same thing my husband is just starting. He just got his date for his transplant, which will be probably the 16th of September. And we're so excited for that. We are just like, some young man, 27, is going to help save my husband's life. You know, and it doesn't get much better than that. So if I could say thank you to all you people that I don't know but have really affected my life and my husband's life and my family's life. It's just been such a blessing, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Denise. I really appreciate your willingness to share your story with us here today. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Mike McBride, who's here with his wife, Ginny. Mike was actually one of the earliest investors. As Kathy Buck mentioned, this process started more than 2 years ago. 2 years ago is when we learned of Frater's gift to the new house, but it actually started, gosh, I think back in 2013, 2014, and Mike, being a longtime volunteer of Kathy's house and one of our earliest contributors, has been right with us from the very beginning. And I so appreciate his willingness to kind of stick in there with us through all of our moving parts and through all of the twists and turns that this project has taken. And I just really appreciate just how much he and Ginny have given to this house to make it possible to serve guests like Denise, and will make it possible to serve thousands of more in the future. So, Mike McBride.
Thank you, Kathy, for those kind remarks. I would second how important Freighter has been to our life. Jenny, 5 years ago, this past July 22nd, had a kidney transplant at Freighter, and I'm happy to report it's working beautifully. Her nephew donated a kidney. He was 39 years old, and it's working great. The majority of our, well, I've been involved with Kathy's House, as they've said, for about 18 years. Our pastor, Gordon Sorensen, introduced me to Dick Vogel to Kathy's House to start volunteering here, and the rest is history. The majority of our philanthropy each year is to organizations that make a difference in people's lives. And obviously, Kathy's House fits that criteria beautifully. The second philosophy we follow is we feel the best use of one's life is to invest in something that will outlast life. That was a major decision for us to get involved with Kathy's House, because obviously Kathy's House will be around long after Jenny and I are gone. We made our first major gift in 2016 when the dream of Kathy's House became a reality. And so we were so pleased to be up on the ground floor. Today, we're prepared to make another major commitment to make sure that Kathy's House happens. Now, there's a little misprint in your program. Our next major gift has to be the one criteria. It has to be matched by other donors, where the first gift was outright. This one has to be matched by donors. And we're pleased to announce today that we are going to commit another $100,000 to Kathy's House. Can't wait for that first shade full of dirt to be turned over. And again, thank everybody that's here today.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mike is one of those clutch players that are here for us when we need him the most. So I thank you again for stepping up to the plate. There's another funder here that is very, very humble, and I know she doesn't want a lot of fanfare, but I at least want to introduce her, and that's Nana Fudge. She's kind of tucked over there in the corner. She is the representative of the Fudge Family Foundation. That was also one of our really big clutch players in our campaign. That stepped up, gosh, when was that? Was near Christmas. Yeah, it was. I know, but I'm just saying, Nana and the Fudge Family Foundation stepped up with $1 million gift. That was a challenge gift. That was really pivotal to getting us to the point we're at now of $9.6 million. So I just ask that please keep up all the good work that you're doing. Today was the day of, we relaunched our website with a special section on our new house. As you talk about the new house and as you hopefully get more people involved in Kathy's House, please direct them to this website. We will actually, when we do break ground, and I know we will relatively soon, we will actually be monitoring the progress of the project, as well as giving you kind of a real-time update on where we're at in reaching our goal of $12 million. So thank you all so much for being here. Please stay, enjoy the house, enjoy one another's company, and thank you very much. We will see you at the groundbreaking.
Great, thank you everybody for joining us. Like Patty just said, go to www.kathyshouse.org/new-house to stay up to date with the new house progress and when we will break ground. Thank you everyone.